Kura Dayara Sagara Edate Koruna Kori Diya pada chaya sado he amaya tomara charana dori. Diya pada chaya sado he amaya tomara charana dori. Diya pada chaya Sado he amaya tomara charana dori. Chaya begadomi, chaya dosha shodhi, chaya guna deho dase. Chaya begadomi, chaya dosha shodhi, chaya guna deho dase. Chaya begadomi, Chaya dosha shodhi, chaya guna deho dase. Chaya begadomi, chaya dosha shodhi, chaya guna deho dase. Chaya satsanga, deho he amare. Sati Sangera Ase Chaya Satsanga Deho He Amare Bosati Sangera Ase Ekaki amara nahi paya bala harinama sankirtane. 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 Tumi kripa kori Svada binduriya deho Krishna namadane. Tumi kripa kori Svada binduriya deho Krishna namadane. Tumi kripa kori Shraddha Binduriya Deho Krishna Namadane. Tumi kripa kori Shraddha Binduriya Deho Krishna Namadane. Krishna se tomara Krishna dite paro Tomara sakati ache. Krishna se tomara Krishna dite paro Tomara sakati Krishna se tomara Krishna jite paro tomara sakati ache
Krishna se tomara Krishna jite paro tomara sakati ache
Amito Kangala Krishna Krishna Boli Dai Tava Pache Pache
Amito Kangala Krishna Krishna Boli Dai Tava Pache Pache
Amito Kangala Krishna Krishna Boli Dai Tava Pache Pache
Amito Kangala Krishna Krishna Boli Dai Tava Pache Pache
Jaya Vaishnava Thakur Jaya Vaishnava Thakur Jaya Vaishnava Thakur Jaya Vaishnava Thakur
Jaya Vaishnava Thakur Jaya Vaishnava Thakur Jaya Vaishnava Thakur Jaya Vaishnava Thakur
Jaya Bhakti Vinod Thakur Bhakti Vinod Jaya Bhakti Vinod Thakur Bhakti Vinod
Jaya Bhakti Vinod Thakur Bhakti Vinod Thakur Bhakti Vinod Jaya Bhakti Vinod
Jaya Haridas Thakur Jaya Haridas Thakur Jaya Haridas Thakur Jaya Haridas Thakur
Jaya Haridas Thakur Jaya Haridas Thakur Jaya Haridas Thakur Jaya Haridas Thakur
Jai Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur Abhibhakti Mahotsav Ki Jai Srila Haridas Thakur Tirubhakti Mahotsav Ki Jai Shri Shri Vaishnava Thakur Ki Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Nyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Amagyana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sabadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamscha Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Hare Krishna. Oh, yeah, Lala.
Prabhu is getting old.
I said I'm getting old also. I need a chair.
大家都年紀大啦，所以需要坐凳。
At least my legs are getting older.
起碼我隻腳已經開始老啦。
I've read, you would know. They say death starts in the legs.
咁咧就係我曾經讀過咧，就係咧死亡咧係由隻腳嗰度開始嘅。
The deterioration starts in the legs.
咁即係話
and goes up.
個人嘅衰老咧就係由隻腳開始，跟住慢慢咁樣向上。
So today is the appearance day of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur and the disappearance day of Haridas Thakur.
咁咧今日咧就係好吉祥嘅 Bhaktivinoda Thakur 嘅顯現日，同埋咧 Haridas Thakur 嘅隱跡日。
Normally they're not on the same day.
通常咧就唔係同一日嘅。
Normally Haridas
Yeah.
Thakur's disappearance would probably be tomorrow. Normally. That's,
通常咧 Haridas Thakur 嘅隱跡日咧係今日嘅第二日嚇。
but somehow the nature of the lunar calendar does this sometimes.
咁但係咧，因為我哋用呢個陰歷啦、月亮嘅曆法啦，咁就結果就係今年咧就係同一日。
So both events, at least today, the anniversaries are
咁
taking place on the
起
same
碼
day.
今年咧呢個嘅紀念日咧就係同一日發生。
So Bhaktivinoda Thakur, what can you tell me about Bhaktivinoda Thakur?
大家可以講乜嘢關於係 Bhaktivinoda Thakur 嘅嘢咧？
Everyone has to say something.
每一個人都要講少少嘢。
We should know a lot.
講先，
We should know a lot
我哋應該要知道好多嘅。
because he is on all of our altars.
因為咧 Bhaktivinoda Thakur 喺我哋嘅每一個神壇上面都有佢嘅相。
And every day we celebrate every year we celebrate his appearance and disappearance.
咁而每一年咧，我哋都會慶祝佢嘅隱跡同埋顯現日。
I'm going to ask the newer devotees first
咁我首先會問啲比較新嘅奉獻者，
because the
Easy,
older devotees should know more.
因為咧比較資深嘅奉獻者，我哋應該知道多啲嘅。
Sorry? No,
No.
from, Frontier.
Harikanta。
Start from her. What can you tell us about Bhaktivinoda
咁你
Thakur?
可以講啲咩關於 Bhaktivinoda Thakur 嘅嘢俾我哋聽咧？
Besides that he's Bhaktivinoda Thakur.
除咗佢係 Bhaktivinoda Thakur 本人之外，你仲可以講啲咩咧？
Oh, that's
That's
Haridas
Haridas.
Thakur. You're mixing up.
Bhaktivinoda Thakur 講。
That's Haridas Thakur.
咁Harikanta 就講話每日念誦好多圈數啦。咁其實嗰個係 Haridas Thakur 就唔係 Bhaktivinoda Thakur。
What can you tell us about Bhaktivinoda Thakur?
你可以講乜嘢關於係 Bhaktivinoda Thakur 嘅嘢咧
No, that's his
he's not
son.
the lion, his son.
His son is the lion
佢亦都唔
guru.
係呢一個稱為獅子嘅靈性導師，係佢嘅仔。
Pardon? What? Can't hear. Pardon? Yeah,
Yes.
he is the father of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati.
咁
Thakur.
Bhaktivinoda Thakur 咧就係Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur 嘅父親。
Okay, I guess Vishwa, you would be next in line.
咁下一個咧就係 Vishwa Prabhu。
Just one point. Yeah, only one.
Yeah, others have to say.
So he was very efficient in his work and he was magistrate.
Yes.
咁
So,
佢
yes.
嘅生活習慣係非常之嚴謹嘅，亦都係好依時依候嘅，亦都好忙碌嘅。
Yes, he worked as a magistrate and he was very efficient at doing so.
咁佢咧係一個法院嘅法官啦，佢做嘢非常之有效率。
No, that's it. Just one. Who's next? Jessica, maybe, yeah.
Janaka Jivana
Sorry, Janaki Jivana.
Jivana。
I haven't been here so much since you've been initiated, so I don't remember your names.
佢去揾到財產財產
He found the lost version of Chaitanya Charitamrita. Not exactly.
Not exactly.
Yeah.
He found he found something. Not
Yeah.
exactly.
佢係揾到啲嘢，但係就唔係永恆的主海坦日經。
Close. Yeah. Yes.
He
Yes.
found 咩地方先得嘅？
儲財產業
嘅出生地。
Yes.
So he found the birthplace of Lord Chaitanya.
Yes.
Yoga
The
Pit.
lost birthplace.
Yeah. 已經被世人遺忘咗嘅主海坦人嘅出生地。
Okay. Who would be next?
Nida Priya?
Maybe Mohini Murti.
No, Nida Priya. Linda Priya Chaitanya.
No, she's been around forever. She's an old devotee. Okay, maybe Gayatri Devi.
So
One, just
in the first part of his life, he is not very keen on the teachings of Lord Chaitanya.
or Lord Krishna. Yes,
Studying other philosophies.
yes.
咁喺佢人生開始嘅時候咧，首先嘅階段咧，佢並唔係咁熱衷咧於呢一個奉獻者愛斯納巴嘅哲學嘅，咁佢咧就係讀咗好多其他嘅哲學。
Yes, unlike many other great Vaishnavas, he didn't manifest those qualities in the beginning part of his life.
咁喺佢人生開始嘅時候咧，佢就唔好似其他好偉大嘅奉獻者啲聆聽導師咁樣啦，就將呢啲好嘅品質咧係展示出嚟。
That happened.
咁
I think
係
in
喺
his
佢
30s. I think it was
喺佢大
around
約
his
30
30s.
歲到啦，就開始咧就係展現出呢一啲嘅品質。
Mohini Murthy.
好似佢叫巴基斯坦嘅三失節都去用英文去傳教啦，唔係。
Oh yeah.
We are the same age, so this is me.
Okay, I think Sitarani Maharaji is next. That's an easy one.
咁係喺我哋知道傳承入邊其中一位啦。
One of the members in the Parampara. Okay.
We are the same. We are the same age, so this is me.
I'm trying to calculate initiations.
No,
and so
we are
on.
the same date. So
Is it?
yeah,
Okay, I didn't remember that.
he's the temple president. He's in charge of the Puri Jagannath temple for some time.
As the magistrate,
Yeah,
he was the legal
in the Puri.
authority.
Yeah.
Yeah.
咁佢咧係有段時間係掌管呢一個 Puri 嘅 Jagannath temple 嘅廟宇嘅。
Leela Priya Chaitanya.
講咗啦，
他說的。
講咗啦。Sorry.
Good. Very good.
He's actually developed the system of
Yeah,
Namahata.
he established the Namahata
Yes.
congregational
Yeah. 咁
preaching,
樣係
basically.
喺社區嗰度傳教啦，就叫 Namahata，係啲小組形式嘅喺家庭嗰度傳教嘅。
Dhruva.
He came up with these beautiful 5 prayers from Srila and the Navadip Bhavataranga.
Yes.
咁佢咧有一個非常之美妙嘅係主那 Srimadev 嘅禱文。
He'll be speaking about that in the noontime.
咁咧喺中午嘅時候會詳細啲去講呢樣嘢。
5 prayers of to Lord Narasimha.
咁咧就係對主那 Srimadev 嘅5個禱文。
Yes.
He wrote so
Anyone
many.
want to add things now, Vishwa?
He took leave, I think 1 or 2 years, and in that duration he started 500 something.
Namahata, yeah. 咁佢發展咗超過500間嘅 Namahata 中心。He wrote so many songs and books.
He wrote many
Yeah,
songs and books.
Yeah. 咁佢寫咗好多嘅讚歌啦，同埋書籍。
Yeah.
He was very, I believe he was the one that, because in Bengal, everybody was more interested in how beautiful the kirtan sounded. He would play kartals off beat and sing off key.
I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, and he
Oh, I
said
never
it's
heard
not
of it.
about how it sounds. It's about
The heart.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he was
Okay.
so cool.
咁
Okay.
後邊有個補充咧，就係話咧係好多人覺得咧 Kirtan 就係要好美妙嘅聲音啦，好美妙嘅音樂啦。咁咧 Haridas Bhaktivinoda佢特登咧就係打卡車嚟打到錯晒拍子啦，唱歌走晒音啦。咁佢就要話俾人聽咧，其實 Kirtan 就唔係講個音樂嘅，而係嗰個內心個感，即係嗰個感情。
For our speakers online, Dhruva said Bhaktivinoda Thakur would sing offbeat
off key.
and off key in order to emphasize it's not all about the beautiful sound,
Yeah.
which was very common in Bengal and
Yeah.
still is, actually. Yeah.
咁頭先翻譯咗啦，已經。Yeah, translated.
Yeah, I'm just putting it in
Yeah.
the ink. Yeah, fine. Something should be very obvious if you look at the books.
咁
This Shitarani Maharaji, you should know this. Underneath his picture, what does it say? In all the books, there's the picture of the Guru Parampara. In many of in Srila Prabhupada's main books anyway, And underneath there's a little description, a little one-liner describing each person. What's the one-liner describing Bhaktivinoda Thakur?
咁喺好多書入邊咧，其實喺每一個作者下邊咧都有一個評注嘅。咁呢一行寫Bhaktivinoda Thakur嘅係咩咧？
That should be, if you open the books, you should know.
It's always under his
Always. Yeah. I guess it's so obvious. The most obvious things we don't remember sometimes or notice.
Is it the pioneer of Gaudiya Vaishnava?
The pioneer to spread Krishna consciousness to the Western world. That
咁
was
咧就
how
係
Srila Prabhupada.
咁呢個咧就係 Prabhupada 點樣去形容 Bhaktivinoda Thakur 就係去西方傳教傳播 Krishna 之國嘅先鋒。
Not Gaudiya Vaishnavism, but to the Western
Krishna.
world. The pioneer to spread Krishna
Krishna
consciousness to the
咁
Western
咧就
world.
係去喺西方世界去傳播 Krishna 之國嘅先鋒。
And how did he do that?
佢點樣做咧？
He sent some
Janaka
book
Jivani.
to Canada.
Pardon?
He
He?
sent some book to Canada
To
University.
University libraries.
Yeah. Not only Canada, he sent
America.
a book, The Life and Precepts of Lord Chaitanya, which he himself compiled to various universities around the
咁
world.
佢咧係佢自己係編撰咗一本書咧，就係主海坦爺嘅教導啦，係佢嘅生平嘅一本書咧，就將佢派發咗去咧係好多西方嘅大學嘅圖書
The
館。
Life and Precepts of is printed as a book now,
咁咧係主海坦爺
finally,
嘅
in English.
生命
also.
同埋佢嘅教導。
So he sent it to certain universities, not only universities, but to some well-known scholars at that time.
咁唔
also.
單止係大學嘅圖書館啦，仲係一啲好出名嘅學者嗰度。
So he was the first one to preach in English
咁佢係第一個係用英語去傳教嘅人，
for any Vaishnava.
對喺所有嘅奉獻者當中。
So that's how he was the pioneer. I mean, that one of the ways.
咁呢個係就佢係呢個先鋒。
He wrote in English and translated from Bengali and Sanskrit into English. He was the first, definitely the first Gaudiya Vaishnava to do that.
佢係第一個高啲嘅外事立話咧，係用英語嚟到寫作啦，同埋亦都係將好多咧係用孟加拉文同埋梵文嘅書籍咧係翻譯到英文嘅第一個嘅奉獻者係咁樣做。
What else? Anything more? Anyone can think of?
Yes.
He take years to find Chaitanya Charitamrita.
Yeah, he found a long time.
It took a long time.
Yeah.
I don't exactly remember how many years, but
佢
it
用
took
咗
a long
好
time.
多年去揾永恆的主宰坦人經呢本書。
It was some years.
係一要好難揾啊，揾咗好
And
耐好耐。
that illustrated how during that era, the real proper teachings of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had become so covered because the main biography and collection of his teachings was out of print.
咁
and
亦
he
都 係
couldn't find
可
it.
以反映到就喺當時即係當時嘅社會咧，其實主宰坦爺嘅生平啦，同埋教導啦，佢嘅關於佢嘅傳記啦，已經咧係失傳咗，亦都冇人咧係再重視呢樣嘢。
True.
He was a perfect example of how to
Grihastha.
live a balanced Grihastha life.
Yes.
佢亦都係一個
12 children.
Yeah, something to that effect.
I think
Yeah, 10 to 11.
yeah. 咁佢係一個完美嘅居士嘅典範啊！咁咧就係佢本身咧係有10個或者11個仔女。
Yeah,
One
some-
of the kid was born paraplegic.
Yes.
He was the 11th and he died
Yes.
in the arms of
Yes.
Bhaktivinoda.
Mm.
咁佢最細嗰個仔仔出世就有病啊嘛，就係Bhaktisiddhanta抱住佢，咁佢就死咗。
Sometimes younger devotees, older devotees, many of you are retired, so that's fine. But sometimes younger devotees wonder, should I work? Should I not work? Should I do full-time service in the temple? Is it Maya to work? They have this tug of war in the brain.
咁對於年長嘅即係比較年紀大嘅奉獻者咧，其實就唔係一個大問題咧，有可能已經退休啦。咁但係對於比較年輕嘅奉獻者咧，佢哋成日都有一個爭鬥喺個內心入邊，就係應該係去全職去傳教啊，去廟堂服務啊，定係出去做嘢好咧？咁不斷喺度，即係喺個腦入邊咧，喺度咧係角力緊。
But we see from the case of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he worked
咁但係我哋咧由 Bhaktivinoda Thakur 身上睇到咧，其實佢係工作嘅，一直都
as a magistrate
係
of
作為
some
一個
sort.
法官。
And at least 1/4 of his day was work related.
咁起碼咧佢1/4嘅人生咧都係喺度工作嘅。
And he certainly wasn't in Maya.
咁佢肯定就唔係喺 Maya 幻覺當中。
You know, being a magistrate, it's kind of mundane work. It's not like, you know, preaching or something like that.
咁作為一個法官咧，其實都係一啲好世俗嘅工作啦，並唔係一啲好靈性嘅工作。
Well, even our Srila Prabhupada, he also
Yeah.
worked for many years
Yeah.
to take care of. It's just what we have to do.
咁咧，就算係聖帕帕啦，佢亦都係工作咗好多年嘅，去照顧佢嘅家庭。
And then we have this strange term, full-time devotee.
咁我哋有個好古怪嘅名嘅，就係全職嘅奉獻者。
It's a very strange term that somehow has become a habit.
咁呢個
Full-time devotee, part-time. Full-time devotee means you're in the temple. Part-time devotee means you're a devotee, but you work outside.
咁咧，全職嘅奉獻者就即係意思就即係話咧，全職就係所有時間就喺廟堂嘅服務啦。咁如果係part time 嘅，就即係話咧，你有一部分時間喺廟堂，有部分就喺
I
出
wonder
邊。
if Bhaktivinoda Thakur was a part-time devotee.
咁我喺度諗啊，究竟Bhaktivinoda Thakur係咪一個 part time 嘅奉獻者咧？
So the language is just wrong.
咁其實咁樣講咧就唔係好正確
We
嘅。
could say temple devotee and congregation devotee.
咁你
That
可以講咧係
is a better description.
係廟堂嘅奉獻者啦，或者係會眾嘅奉獻者，咁可能會比較合適啲。
But there's no such thing as part-time. And I mean, some devotees might be part-time, but that's not how we should express it in our language anyway.
咁有啲奉獻者可能係喺廟堂係做 part time 嘅服務啦，咁但係就咁樣講就唔係太合適。
So Bhaktivinoda Thakur is all of those things and much more.
咁Bhaktivinoda Thakur就係頭先我哋所講嘅一切啦，亦都有更加多嘅。
He certainly revived the Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya in Bengal at that
佢
time.
都咧係喺病國嘅地方咧，係將整個 Gaudiya Vaishnava 嘅呢個思潮傳承咧，係再次咧係將佢咧係展示翻出嚟，恢復翻。
Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya was quite prominent actually in Bengal.
咁其實咧 Gaudiya Vaishnava 呢個嘅思潮傳承咧喺病國呢個地方咧係非常之好常見嘅。
But it had become mixed up and corrupted with all sorts of strange ideas and practices.
咁但係呢個傳承咧，就同好多其他啲好古怪啦、啲唔正確嘅一啲嘅收集咧，就係撈埋一齊。
So although it was prominent, because it's Bengal, that's where Mahaprabhu and his associates come from, but it wasn't prominent in a positive way. It was more prominent in a negative way.
咁雖然啦，住咗產爺喺病嗰度顯現啦，亦都係Gaudiya Vaishnava 嘅呢個傳統咧，亦都係好盛行嘅。咁但係喺當時咧就係呢個盛行嘅意義咧係一個負面嘅，就唔係正面嘅。
Because it had become, it was prominent, but not in a respected way.
咁雖然係盛行，但係咧就唔係一個人哋尊重嘅呢一個嘅方向。
Because over the 200-300 years, the more prominent form of Gaudiya Vaishnavism had become corrupted and contaminated with all sorts of strange ideas and practices and things like this.
因為咧經過200至300年嘅期間咧，咁即係呢個Gaudiya Vaishnava 嘅呢個收集咧，又同好多其他啲好古怪啊唔啱嘅一啲嘅嘢咧，係撈埋一齊，都係被污染咗。
So the corrupt version or the compromised version was prominent.
咁所以呢一個被污染咗嘅呢一個嘅版本咧，就變得咧非常之盛行。
So much so that, as Janaka Jivani mentioned earlier, it took some years for Bhaktivinoda Thakur to find the Chaitanya Charitamrita.
咁咧去到個情況咧嚴重到咧就係頭先馬拉茲所講咧，就係Bhaktivinoda Thakur用咗好多年嘅時間咧，先揾到咧係永恆的住喺坦耶經呢一本書。
All the various Sahajiya groups had their material, but the most authorized collection of Lord Chaitanya's teachings wasn't around. Certainly wasn't in print, and it just wasn't around.
咁當然啦，好多薩哈主有好多其他嘅呢啲團體咧，佢都有好多嘅資料啦。但係最權威嘅呢一本《永恆的主宰坦耶經》咧，就已經當時已經係失傳咗，亦都冇再印刷出嚟。
And Bhaktivinoda Thakur himself, another unique thing about Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he's the only Vaishnava at that era, or maybe ever, to write his own biography.
咁而對Bhaktivinoda Thakur嚟講咧，亦都係一個好特別嘅地方咧，就係佢係當時嘅奉獻唯一一個奉獻者咧，係寫自己嘅傳記。
Normally Vaishnavas, they don't like to write about themselves or promote themselves. I mean, he didn't, but it's just the norm.
咁通常咧，奉獻者好唔中意寫自己嘅嘢嘅，咁呢個就成為咗即係一個好似一個現象咁樣。
That's why sometimes the details of our great Vaishnavas are not always known because they don't like to speak about themselves or write about themselves.
因為奉獻者咧好多時佢都唔中意寫自己嘅嘢啦，講關於自己嘅嘢啦，所以好多好偉大嘅奉獻者咧，佢哋嘅生平啊，佢哋嘅事蹟咧就係失傳咗。
So Bhaktivinoda Thakur was the first one, at least certainly among the followers of Lord Chaitanya, maybe other Vaishnavas also, to actually write a biography from his life, as I recall, until he fully took shelter of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
咁所以咧，Bhaktivinoda Thakur應該係喺奉獻者當中咧係第一個咧係寫自己嘅傳記嘅，就係佢出生啦，年青嘅時候咧，去到咧係大約係佢係完全咧係託庇俾主宰坦耶，即係呢個傳承嘅時候。
And it was a letter response in answer to one of his sons, another son who had asked him about his life, and in response he
咁當時咧，佢其中一個仔咧就問佢嘅生平，於是佢咧就係為咗回覆佢嘅仔，所以咧就寫咗佢嘅自己嘅傳記。
And if you're familiar with Bhaktivinoda Thakur's early life, it was not easy.
咁
Full of tragedy, actually. I mean, not just little tragedy, but big tragedy.
如果大家係熟悉Bhaktivinoda Thakur嘅生平咧，就會知道其實佢年青嘅時候咧，長大嘅時候咧，係經歷過好多好多嘅災難，就唔係一小嘅問題，一啲大嘅災難。
As a child, he was from a well-to-do family. His father or uncles or grandfathers were all landowners.
咁佢係出生一個非常之富裕嘅家庭啦，佢嘅父親啦、祖父咧都係一啲地主嚟嘅。
But as a child, I think when he was 11 or 12, his father died. His uncles died, and then they lost all their property, and then the village was struck by a epidemic, and his sister died, his wife died, and it just became
咁當佢11、12歲到啦，佢爸爸就死咗啦，跟住佢就冇晒，佢哋冇晒所有佢嘅叔伯亦都死咗啦，佢哋冇晒所有嘅財產啦。跟住咧，當佢再大啲嘅時候咧，就佢哋條村咧就有呢個瘟疫啊。咁佢嘅屋企人，佢嘅仔女啊，佢太太咧都死埋。
Beginning from his mid-teens, he had to take care of the family, his mother and sisters, and
喺佢10幾歲嘅時候，佢就要照顧佢嘅家人。
So if we think we're having a difficult time, we are, because it's the nature of the material world. But we're not the only ones.
咁如果你覺得自己面對緊好多嘅苦難嘅話咧，咁當然呢個係物質自然嘅定律啦。咁其實咧，我哋並唔係唯一一個係要面對呢啲嘢嘅人。
If we wonder, why is Krishna doing this to me? So unkind.
咁你可能會諗啊，點解 Krishna 要咁對我咧？點解咁唔仁慈嘅對我
？We can think of Vaishnavas like Bhaktivinoda Thakur, so much tragedy, not just little things, but quite traumatic, what we now describe as traumatic experience in early life, not as an adult, in early life.
咁如果你有呢個諗法，你就可以諗下Bhaktivinoda Thakur，佢喺好年青嘅時候咧，已經要面對呢啲苦難。
And he himself writes again, as it was mentioned, he didn't have much faith in the teachings of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu because what he saw as common practice.
咁當時咧，佢自己都有寫咧，就係話佢對主宰坦耶嘅教導啊嘅收集咧，其實冇乜信心啊，因為佢自己眼睇到嘅就係咁樣。
And he certainly had even less faith in Lord Krishna.
佢應該係對主 Krishna 咧嘅信心係更加少。
Because who was presented as a, youthful playboy.
因為當時咧啲人視 Krishna 係一個花花公子咁樣，
So
即係識去玩。
he wasn't impressed. And superficially, he wasn't impressed.
所以表面上咧，佢並唔覺得咧係即係會好影響佢。
And he says, when I read the Chaitanya Charitamrita for the first time, after looking for so many years,
咁佢自己亦都有講過啦。當佢揾咗咁多年之後，第一次去讀《永恆的主宰坦人經》呢本書嘅時候，
he was convinced this is it.
咁佢咧就係深信咧就係話係啦，呢一個咧就係我要揾嘅嘢。
Then he read it, as I recall, he read it for a second time.
跟住咧佢就讀第二次。
And then he said, then he was even more convinced. This is the most super excellent philosophy of the absolute truth. And
跟住當佢讀第二次嘅時候，佢就絕對係接受啦。佢話呢個咧絕對係呢個咧就係絕對真理嘅教導。
And then from that time onwards, which I think was in his early to mid 30s, then he was, full steam ahead.
咁當時佢大約係30歲到啦，跟住佢就咧完全咧係充滿咗力量去推動呢樣嘢。
And this was after he had, read and researched all sorts of other Western and Eastern philosophies, religious and non-religious.
咁當時咧，佢已經係讀咗好多咧係東方啦、西方唔同嘅宗教或者係其他嘅哲學而得出嘅結論。
And then he began to expose the various misunderstandings that had become so prominent in Mahaprabhu, Lord Chaitanya, among Lord Chaitanya's followers.
咁跟住咧，佢就開始咧去發掘呢一啲係主宰坦人嘅追隨者嘅啲人對呢啲即係佢哋嘅呢一啲嘅誤解，將一啲唔好嘅、唔正確嘅修習咧揾出嚟。
Which had become normalized.
咁當時咧就已經好似將呢啲唔正確嘅嘢咧，已經好似變得正常化咁樣。
But he began to write openly and exposing, the various misunderstandings.
咁佢就係好公開咁樣咧，係對呢一啲嘅誤解咧，係作出呢個即係指正出嚟。
You could say he named and shamed.
佢係指出啦，亦都咧係責備啦嚇呢
He
啲。
listed all the Sahajiya groups, which were 13 or 14. He listed their names. What's wrong?
佢係將所有啲 Sahajiya 嗰啲扮嘅呢一啲嘅所謂扮嘅奉獻者嘅呢啲唔同嘅種類嘅人咧，就全部寫晒出嚟，跟住咧就指出佢哋有啲咩錯誤嘅地方。
He didn't mention names as such, but the categories.
佢冇話真係將個名寫出嚟，但係唔同嘅種類。
And he himself, he said, he did a very thorough study.
佢咧自己係做咗一個非常之詳細嘅研究。
And then Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur took it a step further.
咁咧佢個仔啦，Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur就更進一步。
He named them.
佢咧係將佢哋個名都指埋出嚟。指定
Because
出
of
嚟。
his position and so on, Bhaktivinoda Thakur was interacting with all sorts of Vaishnavas.
咁當時 Bhaktivinoda Thakur 嘅身份咧，佢就同所有唔同嘅奉獻者咧都有交往嘅。
So he was a bit reserved in what he wrote was one thing, but what he said was
咁所以佢寫係一樣嘢啦，但係佢講嘅嘢咧，佢就好小心嘅要。
There's one incident, a famous Sahajiya Vaishnava came to visit Bhaktivinoda Thakur.
咁有一次咧，有個好出名嘅 Sahaji 有啲扮嗰啲嘅人咧，就去探訪咧，係 Bhaktivinoda Thakur。
Because he was prestigious magistrate, so he had his flow of guests.
因為當時佢係一個好有名望嘅一個法官啦，咁所以好多訪客會去揾佢。
So one of who was quite famous
咁佢亦都好出名嘅，
and respected
亦都係好受尊敬。
came to visit Bhaktivinoda Thakur.
咁於是呢個 Sahaji 咧就去揾 Bhaktivinoda Thakur。
And at the time, Saraswati Thakur was there. He was, I believe, young. And he was maybe a child or in his teens.
咁當時咧就 Bhaktisiddhanta 咧就係好細個，可能10零歲咁樣。
And he didn't pay any attention to him.
咁佢完全咧就對呢個人咧係唔理嗰個人。
Bhaktivinoda Thakur was receiving him nicely and giving, but Saraswati Thakur just didn't pay any attention.
咁當時咧，Bhaktivinoda Thakur就好即係好招呼呢個客人啦，但係Bhaktisiddhanta咧完全冇理會到呢個
So
人。
he asked the Sahajiya, well respected, asked, why is your son not offering respect?
咁於是呢個好出名嘅Sahajiya咧就問Bhaktivinoda Thakur，點解你個仔唔尊敬我嘅，冇即係唔頂拜佢啊咁樣。
So he said, he doesn't offer respect to Sahajiyas. He just said it out. He doesn't offer respect to Sahajiyas.
跟住咧，Bhaktivinoda Thakur就好直接咁講啦。我個仔咧唔會頂拜嗰啲咧係Sahajiya，即係嗰啲扮嘅奉獻者。
And that was that.
非常之直接就
And
指
he
出呢樣
continued
嘢。
that throughout his life, which is one reason why he attracted so many enemies, powerful enemies.
咁亦都係佢Bhaktisiddhanta要咁Bhaktisiddhanta咧，佢一生就係咁樣，佢嘅即係行事就係咁樣。咁所以都因為呢個原因咧，佢即係佢引嚟好多嘅敵人。
And if he was to appear in the ISKCON world now, there would be a lot of unhappy people.
如果Bhaktisiddhanta喺現今嘅 ISKCON 度出現咧，應該周圍有好多人咧都會好唔開心。
Different social climate, and so the needs and are different.
因為當時嘅社會風氣啦，個需要係同而家係唔一樣。
But anyway, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he illuminated the proper understanding of Lord Chaitanya's teachings, which had become very obscure.
咁Bhaktivinoda Thakur就將主一坦人嘅教導咧，再次咧係照亮翻出嚟。咁當時咧係已經係非常之隱晦嘅，揾唔到噶啦已經。
And then Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, you could say, he institutionalized them, he visualized them.
咁而Bhaktisiddhanta 咧就係更進一步咧，就將佢咧成立一個系統啦，同埋咧係有加呢個遠景啦，同埋將佢制度化咗。
And most of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur's education was from Bhaktivinoda Thakur. You can read that.
咁而Bhaktisiddhanta嘅大部分嘅教育咧，都係由Bhaktivinoda Thakur 嗰度嚟嘅。
Homeschooling.
係家教，喺屋企
Homeschooling.
係家教，即係喺屋企自己嘅教導嚟嘅。
And as was mentioned, he founded the birthplace of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
咁亦都頭先有講到啦，佢亦都發現翻主要坦爺嘅出生地。
So what the Lord Chaitanya and the six Goswamis did for Vrindavan, Bhaktivinoda Thakur did for Navadvip, Mayapur Navadvip.
咁咧主要坦爺同埋6個 Goswamis 喺 Vrindavan 做嘅嘢咧，其實咧就係正咧就係Bhaktivinoda Thakur喺 Navadvip 所做嘅服務一樣。
Over thousands of years, as we should know, Vrindavan and the glories of Vrindavan, the glories of the devotees of Vrindavan, the glories of Srimati Radharani, whom we celebrated last week, had also become covered and obscured.
咁我都知道啦 ，Vrindavan 嘅即係光輝嘅日子啦，牧牛姑娘啦，所有嘅奉獻者啦，呢一切咧就喺 Vrindavan 嘅呢一啲嘅之前嘅歷史咧，隨住時間過千年咧，已經係完全咧係被覆蓋住。
Now we take it for granted. Srimati Radharani, we know so much.
咁我哋而家就好似理所當然咁咯，我哋講 Srimati Radharani， 我哋知道好多佢嘅嘢。
But that was not always the case.
咁但係咧並唔係成日都係咁樣嘅。
Up until the time of, more or less, up until the time of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, she was basically invisible.
咁咧係直至到喺主要坦爺出現之前咧，其實基本上咧 Srimati Radharani 咧係隱形嘅，消失咗嘅。
She's not openly, even in the Bhagavatam, she's not openly described.
就算喺聖典博加堂入邊咧，亦都冇好公開咁樣咧係描述Srimati Radharani.
Gaudiya Vaishnava, that's our main shastra, is the Srimad Bhagavatam. But even there, she's only indirectly inferred.
咁而喺 Gaudiya Vaishnava 入邊嘅就係聖典博加堂係最重要嘅典籍啦。咁就算咧喺博加堂入邊咧，亦都冇 接或者公開咁樣咧係描述咧係 Srimati
So
Radharani。
up until more or less, up until Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, she was invisible
咁咧，
for all practical purposes.
喺主體人之前咧，基本上咧Srimati Radharani 咧就係隱形嘅，即係你見唔到佢嘅。
But he, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, as we know, one of his reasons for his appearance was to experience the mood of Srimati Radharani.
咁主體人嘅顯現其中一個原因咧就係佢想去親自去品嚐咧呢一個Srimati Radharani 嘅心髓。
And specifically, he instructed the six Goswamis, particularly Rupa and Sanatan, you have to reveal Vrindavan and the glories of Vrindavan, the devotees of Vrindavan, and especially Srimati Radharani. You need to reveal her glories to the world, and that's what they did. That's why we know so much.
咁而主體人亦都對佢嘅6個 Goswami 嘅門徒咧係有個特別嘅訓示咧，尤其是咧係對 Rupa Goswami 咧同埋 Sanatan Goswami 咧，就係要將 Vrindavan 嘅光輝，尤其是咧就係亦都包括 Vrindavan 嘅奉獻者啦，尤其是咧就係 Srimati Radharani 佢哋嘅逍遙時光，佢哋嘅光輝咧係再次發掘出嚟，呢個亦都係6個 Goswami 所做嘅嘢。
So over the thousands of years, all this had become covered up, and beginning with Lord Chaitanya and then the six Goswamis and others, and they uncovered all of Vrindavan, pastime places, devotees, mood of devotion, and of course, Srimati Radharani's glories.
咁隨住過千年嘅時間啦，咁所有係關於 Vrindavan 嘅嘢啦，上演過嘅逍遙時光啦、奉獻者啦，尤其是係 Srimati Radharani 嘅逍遙時光咧，已經咧係慢慢咧就係已經係被覆蓋住、消失咗。
And then, in a somewhat similar way, after Lord Chaitanya's appearance, his teachings, his pure not maybe the next generation, the generation after him was a period of growth. You could say the second generation, then things sort of began to go downhill.
咁同樣地咧，係當主體人顯現之後咧，係第一代佢嘅門徒啦，第二代啦都有啲發展嘅。咁但係之後咧，過咗呢2代之後咧，就已經開始咧係沒落。
So after 200-300 years, things had become quite obscured.
咁過咗200-300年之後咧，就所有嘢咧都變得咧非常之隱晦，已經
And
係。
the birthplace, among other places, had become lost.
咁而好多嘅地方啦，包括係主體人嘅出生地啦，亦都係已經係失傳咗。
Of course, there was a birthplace.
咁我哋所講嘅出生地啦
People were going there. The place is still there. Have you been?
，yeah，
It's on Navadvip side. Nobody goes there, but it's promoted as the birthplace of Lord Chaitanya.
you are not talking about Yoga Pit。
No.
no， 咁有另外一個喺嘅地方咧，亦都係稱為咧就係主體人嘅出生地。咁而家咧就亦都有啲人會去嘅。
Bhaktivinoda Thakur can, through his not just philosophical research, but archaeological, historic, he concluded that can't be the place.
咁當時咧，Bhaktivinoda Thakur就通過佢一啲研究啦、歷史啦、考古啦、經典所描述咧，跟住佢就指出咧，嗰笪所謂嘅主體人出生地咧係冇可能嘅。
So through that same philosophical, shastric, archaeological, historic, he determined, well, this is the place.
咁於是佢就通過呢個考古啦、歷史啦、文獻入邊記載咧，佢就指出咧而家即係呢一個先係真正嘅主體人嘅顯現嘅地方。
The old place is still there, but I've seen pictures. I haven't been there, but it's empty.
咁咧。
The yoga pit is the place where everyone goes.
以前嗰個所謂嘅出生地咧，仲喺度嘅，但係咧就已經荒廢，冇人去噶啦。咁而家所有人咧就係去即係 Bhaktivinoda Thakur所指出嘅地方就係 Yoga Pit 嗰度。
So yes, so in discovering the place and uncovering the pure teachings, he illuminated the proper Gaudiya Vaishnava understanding of things.
咁通過發掘翻呢一啲已經係失傳咗嘅地方啦，亦都咧係將 主一單嘢嘅教導咧係再次咧係恢復翻出嚟，咁佢咧就係將呢一個成個 Gaudiya 嘅Vaishnava 嘅哲學啦教導咧係重新咧係賦予呢個光彩。
And then, as the six Goswamis did for Vrindavan, Bhaktivinoda Thakur did for Navadvip and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
咁就好似六個 Goswami 為六個 Goswami 為主一壇嘢所喺 Vrindavan 所做嘅嘢一樣，咁Bhaktivinoda Thakur 咧就係做同樣嘅服務，就係喺 Navadvip 嗰度。
And you may know, do you know, he wrote the Navadvip Dham Mahatmya.
咁佢寫咗一本書咧，就叫 Navadvip Dham Mahatmya。
Glorification of Navadvip Dham.
咁咧就係個意思就係榮耀 Navadvip Dham 嘅聖地。
You've read? Anyone read? I have. I know I have. Anyone else? Hare Krishna. It's not a big book.
咁唔係一本好大嘅書嚟嘅。
We're all followers of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. You should.
咁我哋
No, you should. We should. No. The glories of his Dham.
咁我哋係主一壇嘢追隨者啦，咁所以我哋咧都應該去讀呢一本書，就係主一壇嘢嘅地方嘅榮耀。
So make an effort. It's not a big book. It's not like, and it's not deeply philosophical, so you won't fall asleep as such. It's mostly leelas, revealing through various Puranic histories and so on, revealing the glories of Navadvip Dham.
咁咧並唔係哲學性嘅書嚟嘅，主要係一啲逍遙時光啦，就係咧去榮耀翻呢個地方。
Each holy place has its mahatmyas or glorifications, books, compilation. So this is the one for Mayapur.
咁每一個聖地咧都有佢嘅榮耀啦。咁就呢一本書咧就係描述咧就係 Navadvip 呢個地方嘅榮耀。
It has been translated into Chinese.
咁咧亦都係呢本書咧應該係翻譯咗做中文嘅。
Leela Chaitanya 沒有看到嗎？有嗎？哪裡？哪裡？在家嗎？是嗎？沒有看過啊？有看過，看過而已，沒有讀過，看過。So she looked at it but didn't read it.
Oh, it's online.
Yeah, it's online.
喺網上都可以揾到，英文版咧網上可以揾到嘅。
Yeah.
有啊。
So that's what the six Goswamis did for Vrindavan, and the glories of Vrindavan and the devotees of Vrindavan and the mood of their devotion. Bhaktivinoda Thakur did for Navadvip and for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
咁就好似六個 Goswami 喺 Vrindavan 所做嘅嘢啦，咁 Bhaktivinoda Thakur 咧就同樣咧就喺 Navadvip 啦喺 Mayapur 做同一樣嘅嘢。
And now in more recent times, maybe in the last 10 or more years, in an academic sense, the contributions and uniqueness of Bhaktivinoda Thakur and Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur are being revealed more and more and more.
咁近呢10年啦，咁就係Bhaktivinoda Thakur 啦，同埋佢嘅仔啦Bhaktisiddhanta喺學術上嘅所做嘅嘢咧，亦都係更加咧係被人發現出嚟。
More and more, because there's more and more devotee scholars who, scholarly do research on our Gaudiya tradition.
因為咧越嚟越多嘅奉獻者咧，佢哋係一啲學者啦，就會咧係對呢一個 Gaudiya Vaishnava 嘅一個哲學咧係做一啲更加深入嘅研究。
And they're revealing more and more the uniqueness, not only of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, but the whole Gaudiya tradition. They're revealing more and more the uniqueness.
佢哋咧亦都係發掘出更加多咧係唔單止 Bhaktivinoda Thakur 啦，其實成個 Gaudiya Vaishnava 嘅哲學咧係入邊嘅獨特嘅地方。
And finally, Bhaktivinoda Thakur was very much an East meets West.
咁而Bhaktivinoda Thakur亦都可以被視為一個咧係東方同西方接觸嘅呢一個中間嘅橋梁。
Because as mentioned, he knew English first of all, and he had studied various Western philosophies, so he had some understanding of that mindset.
因為佢唔單止識英文啦，佢都讀咗好多東方同西方嘅哲學啦，所以佢好明白咧西方人佢哋嘅心態。
So he was able to wrap He was able to package the teachings and practices of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and the six Goswamis in a more modern, relevant, contemporary way.
咁所以咧，佢係更加能夠咧係將呢一個主體坦嘢同埋六個 Goswami 嘅教導咧，係可以用一個更加現代啦嚇，用西方人可以接受嘅方法咧嚟到係去呈現出嚟。
And that, of course, was continued by Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur and then continued by our Srila Prabhupada and is continuing.
咁當然啦，佢嘅呢個工作呢個服務咧，亦都係由佢嘅仔啦，Bhaktisiddhanta同埋咧係聖帕帕咧係繼續落去。
But it was Bhaktivinoda Thakur who began the process.
咁但係咧
That's why he is the pioneer. Srila Prabhupada told us, the pioneer to spread Krishna consciousness in the West.
咁但係咧係 Bhaktivinoda Thakur 係第一個咧係去做呢一個嘅服務啦。咁所以點解聖帕帕咧稱呼 Bhaktivinoda Thakur 咧係呢個喺西方傳播 Krishna 知覺嘅先鋒？
So much more could be said. Dhruva will say more at the noon program.
咁有更加多好多嘢可以講啦。咁 Dhruva Prabhu 就會喺中午嘅講課嗰度咧係會繼續
I want to
繼續
spend
講。
some time on Haridas Thakur.
咁咧我就想講一講咧係 Haridas Thakur
We
嘅
can
嘢。
see the painting there.
咁你會喺神壇上面見到 Haridas Thakur 嘅相啦。
Again, we take it for granted now.
當然啦，我哋而家咧就係理所當然嘅，覺得
We
係
take many things for granted now
我哋好多嘢都覺得係理所當然，
because it's so easily accessible.
因為咧好多嘢已經好容易可以揾到。
But during the era of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the caste consciousness of giving more importance to birth was very deeply rooted in Indian culture.
咁但係喺主體坦爺嘅年代嗰度咧，係印度咧，對於呢個種姓啊，即係你嘅出生咧，係非常之重視嘅嚇，呢樣好重要嘅。
So much so, even but Hari, I'm jumping ahead, but Haridas Thakur, Rupa Goswami, and these are top devotees. They couldn't go into the Jagannath temple,
咁就算係一
or
啲
they
最
didn't go into the Jagannath temple.
係最高階嘅奉獻者啦，我哋講緊 Haridas Thakur 啦、Rupa Goswami 啦，佢哋其實係佢哋唔可以入去，佢哋亦都唔會入去呢個Jagannath 廟。
Why? Because they had become contaminated by Islamic or Muslim contact.
因為咧佢哋係受到咧呢個回教嘅污染，被視為係受到佢哋嘅污染。
Haridas Thakur was born in a Muslim family.
咁 Haridas Thakur 咧就係一個回教嘅家庭度出生。
There's nothing really much known about his early life.
咁咧對佢生平早期嘅事蹟咧係冇乜人
But
知道。
because of that birth, he, in the eyes of the caste conscious conceptions, he was we say branded for life, right? He was contaminated for life.
咁但係因為佢嘅出生啦，咁所以咧佢當時喺呢啲咁重視呢一個種姓制度嘅人咧嘅心目中咧，佢係成世咧都係咧係被扣上呢個標籤。
And all the Vaishnava acharyas, if you read their teachings and their biographies, this is one of the most. They're always fighting against this, being born in a particular family or being qualified by your behavior. It's been, historically over thousands of years.
咁如果我
At
哋
least the last 1,000 or 2,000 years, it's been a huge obstacle.
咁如果我哋讀好多我哋之前嘅靈性導師嘅書籍啊，我哋所寫嘅嘢咧，其實咧永遠都係有呢一個矛盾同埋爭鬥喺度存在，就係你嘅出生就係你成世都係受呢樣嘢所束縛住。
Where birth is given importance over quality.
咁我哋嘅出生咧，比我哋嘅品質咧係更加被視為更加重要。
So if someone like Haridas Thakur, he was born in a Muslim family, so he was, branded for life. You're unclean. You can't this, you can't that. And
就好似 Haridas Thakur 咁，因為佢出生喺一個回教嘅家庭啦，所以佢咧終生咧都係被視為咧係唔潔淨嘅。
but Lord Chaitanya highlighted him
咁但
greatly.
咁但係咧，主體產業就非常之重視咧 Haridas Thakur。
And, we think it's normal now because, what's our backgrounds and, we're accepted and we go to temple. But it was not like that at that time.
咁喺而家咧，我哋就會覺得我哋嘅出生唔重要啦，我哋仍然可以去廟堂啊、聖啊咁樣。但係喺當時咧係唔容許咁樣做嘅。
And one of the criticisms of the sannyasis in Varanasi, when Lord Chaitanya visited Varanasi.
咁而喺當時喺 Varanasi 咧，主體產業就係喺嗰度住喺嗰度啦。咁而其中一個托缽僧咧就咁樣批評主體產
On the
業。
way to Vrindavan, he visited, transited through Varanasi from Jagannath Puri.
咁當時咧，主體產業就係由Jagannath Puri 咧就去 Vrindavan 嘅途中咧，佢就經過 Varanasi 個地
And there
方。
was a large group of, esteemed Mayavadi sannyasis.
咁當時就有一班非常之有名望嘅非人格神主義者嘅托缽僧。
And one of their criticisms, besides his dancing in public, was that he's mixing with non-sannyasis, non-brahmanas. He's just dancing with common people.
咁其中一個呢啲托缽僧對主體產業嘅批評就係除咗話佢公開咁喺度街度跳舞啊、唱歌之外咧，就係佢咧係公開咁樣咧同呢一啲唔係好嘅出生啦，唔係婆羅門啦，一般嘅普羅大眾嘅人咧係混雜埋一齊。
Because this was so deeply ingrained in the culture now, but to a lesser extent, that if you're not born in a Brahmana family or Kshatriya family, perhaps, you're not
qualified.
You don't mix. You don't mix together. It was very, caste
因為當時咧
divided.
呢個種姓制度咧係非常之根深蒂固。咁如果你唔係一個婆羅門出生，咁你唔係一個 Kshatriya 嘅家庭出生咧，你就唔可以同其他人咧係混埋一齊。
So Haridas Thakur, in that context, he was like at the bottom of the pecking level. He was not only non-Hindu by birth, but Muslim who had so many dirty habits. La.
咁所以咧 Haridas Thakur 一出生就係被扣上呢一個帽子啦，就係因為回教徒被視為係最低賤嘅人啦，佢哋好多唔潔淨嘅生活習慣啊咁樣。
But Lord Chaitanya didn't pay any attention to that.
咁但係主體產業咧，從來都唔理會呢啲嘢。
Even Advaita Acharya Prabhu, it describes, he also paid no attention. They were friends. This before Mahaprabhu's appearance. Haridas Thakur had living in the same area, Bengal.
咁當時Advaita Acharya 都係一樣啦，佢一啲都唔理會呢一啲嘢嘅。咁當時咧係即係喺主體產業顯現之前咧 ，Haridas Thakur 同埋Advaita Acharya 住喺同一個地方。
So like in China, India has its Qingmingjie.
咁就好似呢一個中國一樣啦，喺印度都有呢個清明節掃墓嘅
That's the
節。
Chinese tradition.
Ancestor.
They go and sweep the graves of the ancestors and
咁啊，
give offerings and things.
清明節就係中國人嘅去掃墓啦，去祭祖嘅時候。
Of course, India doesn't. They don't go and sweep the graves because the bodies are burned and thrown into the Ganga. So, but there's a similar kind of, ceremony.
咁當然啦，印度人就唔會去掃墓嘅，因為佢哋冇墓嘅，佢哋係火化噶嘛。咁但係佢哋咧有差唔多類似嘅節日。
And one of the musts, you feed brahmanas.
咁其中一個環節咧就係佢哋要去請呢啲婆羅門食飯。
By birth, that's the general understanding.
即係所謂即係根據出生就被視為婆羅門嘅人。
But Advaita Acharya Prabhu invited Haridas Thakur. He didn't invite the brahmanas. He invited Haridas Thakur, born from a Muslim family.
咁但係 Advaita Acharya 就非常之破格啦，佢冇請到呢啲所謂係婆羅門出生嘅婆羅門啦，但係佢咧就請咗喺呢個回教家庭出生嘅 Haridas Thakur。
He himself was from a respectable Brahmana family, but he invited Haridas Thakur to accept the offering of Lord Vishnu, which is offered to the ancestors and then fed to Brahmanas.
咁咧，但係佢自己係Advaita Acharya喺一個婆羅門家庭度出生啦，但係佢佢咧當時就邀請咗 Haridas Thakur 去接受咧，就係供奉俾主 Vishnu 啦，同埋通過即係祖先嘅呢一支嘅祭祀嘅食物咧，係俾咗 Haridas Thakur。
Then Haridas Thakur said, should you be doing this?
跟 Haridas Thakur 就問Chandrasekhar，你係咪應該咁樣做啊？唔啱嘅
You
喎
know,。you're breaking tradition, you're breaking custom, people will blame you and
你咁樣係冇遵守呢個傳統啦，咁好多人咧就會責備你嘅喎。
And then Advaita Prabhu said something to the effect, feeding you is like feeding hundreds of thousands of brahmanas.
咁跟住Chandrasekhar就講啦，佢話咧我淨係請你食飯就好似請咗成千上萬嘅婆羅門食飯
Why?
咁樣。
Because of your quality as a Vaishnava.
因為咧你擁有咧係呢啲奉獻者嘅呢啲好嘅品質。
So Lord Chaitanya very much highlighted, and that one of the big criticisms of the caste Hindus at the time, that Lord Chaitanya was, elevating these low-born.
咁所以主要丹爺就完全唔理會呢啲嘢嘅，而當時對主要丹爺其中嘅一個嘅批評咧，就係話佢係同呢一啲咁低賤出身嘅人咧係混雜埋一齊。
But as Lord Chaitanya said, and as we learn from our acharyas, Lord Chaitanya used or engaged Haridas Thakur to teach what?
南城鐵嘅啫。
Translate.
咁但係當時主丹爺咧就係叫 Haridas Thakur 咧係去傳播乜嘢咧？
Sitarani Mataji. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used Haridas Thakur to teach what aspect of our philosophy
主要丹爺咧
or
係
practice?
叫 Haridas Thakur 去教導乜喺我哋嘅修習入邊邊一方面嘅嘢咧？
Yeah, chanting the holy name.
就係對聲明嘅念誦。
That's why what's his full name or title? What's his title? Namacharya, right?
咁所以咧
Namacharya, the teacher of Nam.
咁所以咧Haridas Thakur 佢嘅名稱咧就係被稱為咧係 Nam Acharya， 即係聲明嘅老師。
And it is said he would chant. Who was that? That's what our
Yeah.
Harikanta mentioned earlier. 300,000 names a day, which is
Not 192。
190 something rounds.
咁所以咧佢每日會念誦30萬次聖名啦，咁即係話咧係大約係192圈。
So it said 100,000 he would chant in his mind.
咁咧10萬次咧佢就喺個腦入邊念。
100,000 he would sort of murmur or whisper.
咁另外10萬次佢就會係好細聲咁念。
And then 100,000 he would chant loudly.
咁最後嗰10萬次咧佢就會好大聲咁念誦。
He definitely didn't have time to go on his phone.
佢絕對咧係冇時間咧去睇佢嘅手機，
He was too busy chanting.
因為咧佢咧淨係念誦都已經太過忙碌
No
啦，
time to scroll down YouTube or something.
一定冇時間去睇 YouTube，
Or look at the gossip sites and find out who's doing
或
what.
者咧去睇人哋嘅是非，一定冇時間。
He was too absorbed in chanting.
佢咧完全咧係沉醉咗喺呢個念誦當中。
So he is the Namacharya. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu engaged him or used him in that way.
咁所以咧，主要坦爺咧就係授權咧 Haridas Thakur 咧就係去傳播呢個聖名，佢就成為呢個聖名嘅老
There's a
師。
chapter in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, the disappearance of Haridas Thakur. Very, very touching.
Yeah.
One of probably the most touching pastime of Lord Chaitanya,
咁
actually.
喺《榮啲主要坦爺經》入邊咧就有一章咧就係講呢一個 Haridas Thakur 嘅隱跡 Anjalila
Yeah,
11。
the exchange between them.
咁
And
就
that, I
係
mean, everything is touching about, but that really highlights Mahaprabhu's affection towards his devotees.
咁係非常之感人嘅，咁亦都係睇到咧係主要坦爺點樣同佢嘅奉獻者咧係嘅關懷。呢個係 Anjalila 上中下篇第11章。
And he is the only one, the only devotee we can see from the painting whom Lord Chaitanya carried at the time of his,
Death.
after his dying. A dead body. You know, dead bodies, you don't touch dead bodies. But in this context, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu carried the dead body of Haridas Thakur.
咁即亦都係唯一一個咯，我哋睇到啲相咧，就係主要坦爺咧係親自咧係抱起咧，當時 Haridas Thakur 已經離開嘅身體啦，就係抱住佢個身體咧係 即係抱住佢嘅。
I was hearing recently another pastime, Sanatan Goswami, when he met Lord Chaitanya for the third time in Jagannath Puri.
咁我近排就係讀緊咧，就係住咗Sanatan Goswami 咧第3次喺 Jagannath Puri 咧係遇上主咗壇爺。
He had come through some forest paths, but on the way he had drunken some dirty water and developed rashes and sores and all sorts of things.
咁當時咧，Sanatan Goswami 係喺穿過啲森林咧，就去到 Puri 揾住開壇爺啦。咁因為飲咗啲唔乾淨嘅水，佢身上面咧就起到好多水泡啊，即係爛晒啲皮膚。
Nasty. But when he came to Jagannath Puri, Mahaprabhu embraced him
咁但係當佢嚟到 Jagannath Puri 嘅時候咧，主開壇爺就擁抱佢，
more than once.
唔止一次。
Although it was all sticky and gooey and ooh.
咁當然啦，即係你可以想象下，即係 Sanatan Goswami 身上嘅皮膚喺度流緊膿啊，啲血水啊咁樣
And
係。
Sanatan Goswami felt so bad.
咁咧，Sanatan Goswami 當時咧係感覺係非常非常之差。
But Lord Chaitanya didn't care. Whenever he met, he embraced him.
咁但係咧，主開壇爺
In
一啲
in that visit when he was in Jagannath Puri.
佢一啲都唔理會呢樣嘢，就每一次當佢見到Sanatan Goswami嘅時候，都會擁抱佢。
Very affectionate dealing with. And these were devotees. They were his top devotees, but they were more or less socially ostracized by the conservative Brahminical so-called community.
咁呢啲咧都係主開壇爺一啲最高階嘅門徒啦。咁但係喺當時呢個咁保守、咁封建嘅社會入邊咧，佢哋咧係驅逐，即係不被接
Lord
受嘅。
Chaitanya, when he was in Jagannath Puri, almost every day, maybe not every day, almost every day he would come and see Haridas Thakur.
咁當主開壇爺喺 Puri 嘅時候咧，差唔多每一日咧，佢都會親自咧去探訪 Haridas
Had so
Thakur。
much affection
係
and respect, not just affection, but respect also.
係對 Haridas Thakur 係充滿咗愛啦，同埋尊重。
He would go to take bath in the ocean, go and take darshan of the lords in the temple, Jagannath, Baladev and Subhadra, and then would go and see Haridas Thakur.
咁主開壇爺每日都會喺海嗰度就沐浴啦，跟住就去 Jagannath Temple 咧就係見神像啦，然之後就會去探訪 Haridas Thakur。
And that's a bit of a walk.
咁需要都行一啲路嘅。
You go to the ocean, you go to the temple, and you go to the place where Haridas Thakur, it's not like a 5-minute walk. It probably takes a couple of hours altogether.
咁你係要去海嗰度海邊嗰度沐浴啦，跟住行去廟啦，跟住再行去 Haridas Thakur 所住嘅地方咧，唔係咁近嘅，需要啲時間。
So the exchange between them in the Chaitanya Charitamrita at the time of Haridas Thakur's disappearance is very touching. Actually, it's quite emotional.
咁當即喺永恆的主開壇爺經入邊咧，係描述 Haridas Thakur 離開身體呢一個嘅描述咧，係非常之感人嘅。
Haridas Thakur but he was quite elder because he was similar in age to Advaita Acharya, so he was quite old already.
咁咧 Haridas Thakur 係比較年長咯，佢應該同Advaita Acharya 差唔多年紀嘅，咁所以當時咧 Haridas Thakur 已經係好年老啦。
And Haridas Thakur really felt it's only because of Lord Chaitanya that he's anything.
而 Haridas Thakur 亦都有一個感覺就係因為主開壇爺嘅存在，佢先係即係有意義嘅。
That he really felt fallen because of his background and just because of his humility.
因為佢嘅謙卑啦，同埋佢嘅出生啦，佢係覺得自己係好墮落嘅。
So, and he really felt that. He didn't think I'm a senior devotee. I'm a senior follower of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and pushing himself in the front and, all these sorts of... He didn't have that at all.
佢從來都唔覺得咧自己係主開壇爺一個好資深好高階嘅門徒啦，佢就係覺得佢自己係非常之墮落。
When Mahaprabhu would invite him to take prasadam, say, no, I'll wait outside. When all the devotees are finished, I'll take. 咁當主開壇爺邀請佢去午飯嘅時候咧，佢就話我喺出邊等啦，我唔會入去嘅，等所有奉獻者都食完先啦。 Rupa and Sanatan were like that also when they visited the Lord in Jagannath Puri, because they felt because of their connection. They came from a good background, Rupa and Sanat. They were Brahmanas by background, but somehow they got employed in the Muslim administration, so they considered themselves, contaminated.
咁同樣地咧 Rupa Goswami 同埋 Sanatan Goswami 咧，佢哋嘅出生係非常之好嘅，喺一個婆羅門嘅出生啦。咁但係因為佢哋係幫回教政府咧係做嘢，咁所以覺得咧，仍都覺得自己係非常之係受污染嘅。
So in their So in their humility, specifically referring to Haridas Thakur, they were in the back. They wanted to be in the back. They didn't want to, but they wouldn't walk on the path where the priests for the Jagannath temple would walk because they considered themselves so unfit. They didn't want to, make them feel dirty, so they went, back roads or other roads.
咁所以 Haridas Thakur 出於佢嘅謙卑啦，佢就覺得自己係好低墮啦。咁佢甚至咧係唔會咧係行喺咧嗰啲Jagannath Temple 嗰啲祭司行嗰條路嗰度嘅，佢會兜後面其他啲小路。
These are all exceptional devotees, but we can take something from these.
咁當然啦，呢啲都係一啲
We can't imitate them, but we can certainly take something from them.
呢啲係好例外嘅奉獻者啦，我哋唔可以去模仿佢哋啦，但我哋都可以從佢哋當中咧係學習。
So Haridas Thakur really felt, without Lord Chaitanya arranged his place to stay in Jagannath Puri, also would bring him prasadam almost every day, or would send his servant Govinda to give him prasad. When someone is like that to you, you really owe your life. I mean, you will feel that way.
咁所以 Haridas Thakur 係真心非常之感激主海坦爺，因為主海坦爺為佢喺 Puri 嗰度安排佢住嘅地方啦，亦都咧係每一日咧差唔多每日都親自係帶 prasadam 俾佢啦，或者佢會叫佢嘅僕人啦 Govinda 咧係將呢啲 prasadam 咧送去俾 Haridas。
I mean, the Supreme Lord himself brings you prasadam almost every day, or sends his servant to take it to you.
你可以想象下，至尊主每一日咧都親自為你帶呢個 prasadam 嚟，或者咧係叫佢嘅僕人咧帶呢個 prasadam 俾你。
Right. Even if the average human being does that, we'll feel deeply indebted. What to speak, the Lord himself.
就算係普通人
And this Lord is a sannyasi and a brahmana, but still he's doing it.
就算係普通人，如果咁樣即係對你咁樣做咧，你都會非常之感動啦。更何況呢個至尊主咧，更何況佢係一個婆羅門，一個出生係一個托缽僧。
Not giving any sense of discrimination.
咁係一啲都唔會咧係歧視佢。
So Haridas Thakur had become deeply, deeply indebted and grateful.
咁所以咧 Haridas Thakur 係非常非常感謝啦，同埋亦都係覺得係虧欠咗咧係主海坦爺。
And he asked, not told, he requested Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, I don't want to be around when you're not here.
咁所以咧 Haridas Thakur 就請求同主海坦爺咁樣講，如果當你唔喺度嘅時候咧，我亦都唔想喺度。
He could not imagine being around without Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's presence. He just couldn't dream of it.
佢冇辦法想像或者接受到咧，就係當主海坦爺唔喺佢身邊嘅時候咧，佢可以點樣過？
So he requested Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, I don't want to be around when you're not here. Please allow me to die before you.
咁所以咧，佢就同主海坦爺講啦，我話我冇辦法能夠接受咧，當你唔喺度嘅時候咧，我點樣可以繼續落去？咁所以咧，請你容許我咧，係喺你離開之前咧，係離開我嘅身體。
So Lord Chaitanya said, okay. He didn't say okay. He said, Lord Krishna fulfills all desires.
咁咧，主海坦爺就話佢哋冇話可以，佢哋話咧Krishna 咧係會滿足所有人嘅願望。
So anyway, by this time, it doesn't specifically say how old Haridas Thakur was.
咁當時咧係冇明確咁指出咧係 Haridas Thakur 係有幾多歲。
But if we, read the pastimes and so on, he probably would have been in his 70s or 80s, approximately.
咁佢大約係應該係70歲到啦。
Let's just find that part. So Lord Chaitanya, on one of his regular daily visits,
咁
This happened on one of the regular daily visits where Haridas Thakur said, you know, I don't want to be around when you're not here.
咁係有一次就係住咗坦爺好似平日咁樣啦，去探Haridas Thakur，跟住 Haridas Thakur 就同住咗坦爺咁樣講，我咧就當你我唔想喺你離開之後咧，仍然喺呢一度。
And by this time, Haridas Thakur was already elderly and his health was beginning to fail.
咁當時咧 Haridas Thakur 已經好年老啦，而佢嘅健康亦都開始咧係差。
I suggest that you devotees, you speak English, you read English, read the chapter. It's really very, very touching.
咁如果大家係可以讀英文嘅話咧，我真係建議大家去讀呢一篇啦，係非常之感人嘅，就係為你住咗太陽經下篇第11章。
Just want to find those few verses and then.
My dear Lord, by your mercy, I offer you 冇中文啊，冇啊，淨得上未有，只有上篇有就淨得。
So if you know English, but he just really felt Lord Chaitanya made him.
咁係佢真係覺得係主咗坦人成就咗佢。
We'll just read those. Sorry?
36.
Yeah, almost there. Good.
第11章 Angelina 36咁上下啦，咁上下啦，我唔知佢想讀邊字。
Okay, we'll finish soon. Just want to read these few verses. Let's start from 32.
32, okay. 我由32節開始讀。
I got to bring my glasses, otherwise I would read the Bengali. So, this is Haridas Thakur expressing his prayer. I wish that you show me this closing... I wish that you not show me this closing chapter of your pastimes. Before that time comes, please let my body fall down in your presence.
咁呢個係第11篇嘅32節啦。咁 Haridas Thakur 就咁樣對住咗坦爺講啦。我咧希望咧係喺你結束你嘅逍遙時光之前咧就sorry.
32.
I know I have some problem with my phone. Just bear with me.得揾到嚇。
What time is your jug? Yeah.
咁喺你離開結束你嘅逍遙時光之前咧，求你容許咧我嘅身體咧係首先喺你嘅臨在嘅時候咧係離開。
I wish to catch your lotus-like feet upon my heart and see your moon-like face.
我想咧係捉住你嘅蓮花足啦，係放喺我嘅心上邊啦，亦都係咧係凝視住你好似月光嘅面孔。
With my tongue I shall chant your holy name, Sri Krishna Chaitanya. That is my desire. Kindly let me give up my body in this way.
我想用我嘅舌頭咧係有念誦你嘅聖名啦 ，Sri Krishna Chaitanya。呢個係我嘅願望，我亦都咧我希望你能夠容許我咧係用呢個方法咧係放棄我嘅身體。
O most merciful Lord, if by your mercy it is possible, kindly grant my desire.
我最仁慈嘅主如果你嘅仁慈係如果可以嘅話咧，我希望你能夠咧係賜予我呢一個滿足我呢個願望。
Let this low-born body fall down before you. You can make possible this perfection of all my desires.
咁咧，請你容許呢一個咁低墮嘅身體咧喺你面前咧係離開啦，又亦都係你。You may make possible。你亦都係通過呢一個嘅完美嘅方法咧，能夠滿足我所有嘅願望。
Do any of us pray how we want to die?
大家有冇 ？Yes 大家有冇人咧係有祈禱嘅？就係我哋點樣離開身體咧
Radhika and Mataji? Or you don't think of dying?
或者大家冇諗過點樣死亡 ？Yes。
No, but like Haridas Thakur, we can pray like this. How would we like to die?
咁我哋可以學下好似 Haridas Thakur 咁樣咧，我哋點樣離開我哋嘅身
Not
體？
just wait for the last moment.
唔需要等到咧最後嗰一刻。
prepare, no? We're supposed to
我
prepare
哋
for
要
death.
準備預備。
I know one devotee, I was telling Dhruva last night. I mean, there's so many stories, but this devotee was leading Mongol Artik in a small home temple. I've told this before. He was leading Mongol Artik in a home temple of Lord Jagannath, Baladev and Subhadra. He's been leading Artik for years, Mongol Artik, 10, 15 years, whatever. And he passed away in the middle of leading the Artik in front of the deities.
咁咧有一個奉獻者啦，佢咧就係清晨咧就會領唱呢個，即係喺吉祥燈儀嗰度領唱嘅。咁咧就係喺神像Jagannath Baladev Subhadra面前嗰度領唱啦。咁有一日咧就係佢唱咗一半嘅時候咧就係離開咗身體
Heart failure.
心臟病離開身體。
Leading the kirtan in front of the deities in Mongol Art, that's a blessing.
咁咧就係喺呢一個吉祥燈儀嘅時候啦，喺神像面前啦，領唱緊呢一個嘅時候咧離開身體，呢個係應該係最吉祥嘅離開身體嘅。
And if we want that kind of dying, you better pray for it, because it's just not necessarily gonna.
如果你想咁樣離開身體咧，你真係可能要祈禱。有呢個
If you
願
want
望。
some other way, that's fine. But anyway, just
咁如果你想其他方法，當然亦都可以啦。不過呢個即係如果你想咁樣離開身體，你真係要祈
so.
禱。
37. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, "My dear Haridas, Krishna is so merciful that he must execute whatever you want."
咁主要單爺就咁樣回答啦。親愛嘅 Haridas 啊 ，Krishna 咧係咁仁慈嘅，佢咧會履行一切你所想要嘅嘢。
So I'm going to jump ahead. It's interesting also, because I've been hearing the pastimes regularly, how the devotees would interact with Lord Chaitanya.
咁我恆常都會聽呢啲逍遙時光嘅，咁亦都係非常之有趣，就睇到咧主要單爺同埋佢嘅奉獻者之間嘅呢個交往係點樣。
And how he would act with them. Very personal.
咁係非常之個人化嘅。
And sometimes disciples wonder, if the guru says something, should I say anything in return or just keep my mouth shut?
咁有啲人可能會問啦，我 Guru 如果同我咁樣講嘢嘅時候，我點樣回應佢咧？我定係應該乜嘢都唔講咧？
He gives me an instruction. Oh, I have to follow it.
咁如果佢俾一
Don't say
啲
anything.
訓示俾你，你就咩都唔好講啦，你就跟住做就得啦。
But you see in Mahaprabhu's interactions with his devotees, sometimes he would say something, and of course, in a nice, respectful, loving way, they would, can you change this a bit, you know?
咁但係如果你睇主要坦爺同佢嘅門徒之間嘅交往咧，咁佢有陣時有啲門徒就話，你可唔可以改少少啊，唔咁樣做啊？即係你會見到咁樣。
Like this pastime, Mahaprabhu told Haridas Thakur later, "Oh, so you'll go and leave me alone?"
咁譬如就好似喺呢一章呢個逍遙時光入邊咧，主要坦爺就會話啦，你就咁樣走咗啊，你唔理我，抌低我喺度啊。
And Haridas Thakur said, "Don't make jokes.
跟住咧
What am
，Haridas
I? You have so many wonderful associates. Let me go. It doesn't matter."
跟住 Haridas 嗰個就講啦，你唔好講笑啦，你有咁多你咁好嘅門徒，就俾我離開啦。
So let's go on. This is text 45. The next morning, after visiting the Jagannath temple, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, accompanied by all his devotees, went hastily to see Haridas Thakur.
咁第二朝啦，主要坦爺就同佢所有嘅門徒一齊啦，就當佢去完呢一個 Jagannath 廟之後咧，就去好匆忙咧，就去揾 Haridas Thakur。
I'm jumping a few verses. 48. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu immediately began great congregational chanting in the courtyard. Rakeshwara Pandit was the chief dancer.
咁跟呢個係48節啦。咁主要坦爺當時即刻咧就係開始呢個齊眾聖喺個花園嗰度咧就即刻開始呢個齊眾聖名。咁 Rakeshwara Pandit 咧就係主要嘅帶領跳舞嘅人。
Headed by Sarup Damodar Goswami, all the devotees of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu surrounded Haridas Thakur and began congregational chanting of the holy
咁由 Srila Damodar Goswami 所帶領之下咧，所有主要攤嘢嘅奉獻者咧就圍住 Haridas Thakur 就開始喺度係念誦。
I'm jumping a few verses. Text 53. Haridas Thakur made Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu sit down in front of him, and then he fixed his eyes like two bumblebees on the lotus feet of the Lord.
咁 Haridas Thakur 就請主要攤嘢咧坐喺佢嘅面前啦，跟住佢咧就係用佢嘅雙眼咧凝視住咧係主要攤嘢好似蓮花燭嘅面，咁佢哋眼睛咧就好似兩隻蜜蜂咁樣。
He held the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu on his heart, and then took the dust of the feet of all the devotees present and put it on his head.
咁佢將主要攤嘢嘅蓮花燭咧放喺佢嘅心口嗰上邊啦，然之後咧佢就將所有奉獻者嘅腳上面嘅塵土咧放喺佢嘅頭上邊。
He began to chant the holy name of Sri Krishna Chaitanya again and again. As he drank the sweetness of the face of the Lord, tears constantly glided down from his eyes.
咁佢就開始咧係念誦 Sri Krishna Chaitanya 嘅聖名啦，一次又一次咁樣念。而當佢咧係沉浸喺呢一個主要攤爺呢個咁甜美嘅面龐上面嘅時候咧，佢嘅眼睛咧就流出呢個淚水。
While chanting the holy name of Sri Krishna Chaitanya, he gave up his air of life and left his body.
咁當佢喺度念誦 Sri Krishna Chaitanya 嘅聲名嘅時候咧，佢就放棄咗佢生命之氣，就離開咗佢嘅身體。
Seeing the wonderful death of Haridas Thakur by his own will, which was just like a great mystic yogi, everyone remembered the passing away of Bhishma. 當每一個人咧睇到呢個 Haridas Thakur 咁美妙嘅死亡嘅呢一刻嘅時候，係根據佢意願嚟到死亡嘅時候咧，就好似一個好偉大嘅擁有完備力量瑜伽師咁樣，每一個人咧都喺度記憶住咧係 Bhishma 嘅離開身體嘅嗰一刻。59. The Lord raised the body of Haridas Thakur and placed it on his lap. Then he began to dance in the courtyard in great ecstatic love.
至尊主咧就係抱起咗 Haridas Thakur 嘅身體啦，放喺佢心口上邊，然之後咧就開始咧喺呢個花園嗰度咧係充滿狂喜咁喺度跳舞。
61. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu danced for some time, and then Swarup Damodar Goswami informed him of other rituals for the body of Thakur Haridas.
咁主要攤爺媽Prabhu咧就係咁樣跳舞咗一段時間啦，跟住咧 Srila Damodar Goswami 咧就係話俾佢聽咧，我哋係仲有其他啲儀式係去處理 Haridas Thakur 嘅身體。
Very often, Lord Chaitanya would get carried away.
咁好多時咧主要攤爺就會去望我，所有嘢都唔
And his intimate devotees, like Swarup Damodar Goswami, would check him, basically check him and
佢好親密嘅呢啲同友啦，譬如好似 Srila Damodar 咁樣咧，就會提醒佢。
62. The body of Haridas Thakur was then raised onto a carrier that resembled an airstrip and taken to the sea, accompanied by congregational chanting.
咁佢哋就將 Haridas Thakur 嘅身體咧放咗喺一個一個器皿嗰度啦，就好似一隻飛機咁樣，然之後就送咗將呢個身體咧送去海邊啦，就係咧伴頌住呢一個咧係齊眾聲明一齊。
64. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu bathed the body of Haridas Thakur on the sea and then declared, "From this day on, this sea has become a great pilgrimage site."
咁咧，主要攤爺媽Prabhu咧就係為 Haridas Thakur 嘅身體沐浴喺個海度沐浴啦，跟住佢就宣布啦，由今日開始咧呢個海洋咧就成為一個好偉大嘅朝聖嘅地方。
And then they put the body in Samadhi.
咁佢哋跟住就
headed by Lord Chaitanya.
佢哋咧跟住就由主要攤爺所帶領啦，就將 Haridas Thakur 嘅身體咧就放落呢一個墓地嗰度。
So we should finish here, but it's a wonderful chapter, and I strongly suggest, even if you just read the verses, just to get the flow, very, very touching.
咁咧呢個係一個非常之感人嘅一章啦。咁我強烈建議大家咧係可以去讀呢一章。
And today, yes, we celebrating the anniversary of his appearance day. There's no known date, but the disappearance day has been recorded.
咁 Haridas Thakur 嘅顯現日咧係冇記載嘅，咁我哋就會慶祝佢嘅隱跡日。
If I remember correctly, it was 5-6 years before Lord Chaitanya disappeared.
咁應該係大約係主要坦爺隱跡之前5-6年。
So for the last part of the pastimes, Haridas Thakur wasn't there.
咁咧係主要坦爺最後嘅嗰啲嘅逍遙時光當中咧 ，Haridas Thakur 係就係已經離開
And he
咗。
was the only devotee who had the honor to pass away in Lord Chaitanya's presence.
咁佢亦都係唯一一個奉獻者咧，係
And there's a few others, but
即係有幾個啦，佢其中一個咧就係喺主要坦爺嘅臨在嘅時候咧係離開身體嘅，有呢個
Srila
榮耀。
Thakur's son also as
yeah.
another pastime.
咁 Srila Thakur 嘅兒子亦都係啦。
But all the other devotees had to wait until
咁但係
Lord Chaitanya departed.
其他嘅奉獻者就要等啦，直至係主要坦爺離開咗為止。
And then many of them very quickly all disappeared because they couldn't tolerate the separation.
咁好多其他主要坦爺嘅同友，佢哋奉獻者咧當主要坦爺離開咗之後咧，佢哋好快就離開啦，因為佢哋冇辦法咧能夠接受咧係呢一個主要坦爺離開嘅呢個嘅悲痛。
So let's finish by reading the meaning of the song.
咁我哋喺結束之前咧，就係讀呢一首歌嘅譯文。
And then we can meditate on this when we think of Bhaktivinoda Thakur and Haridas Thakur.
咁我哋當我哋記憶住 Haridas Thakur 同埋 Bhaktivinoda Thakur 嘅時候，我哋都可以咧係諗翻呢一啲嘅禱文。
O Venerable Vaishnav Thakur, O Ocean of Mercy, be merciful to me, your servant, and purify me by the shade of your lotus feet. Your feet I humbly hold.
咁呢個第一段嘅譯文啦，德高望重嘅 Vaishnava Thakur 仁慈之羊，請仁慈地對待你的這個僕人，用你蓮花足嘅影子淨化我，我謙卑地捧着你嘅蓮花足。
Controlling my 6 urges and purifying me of the 6 faults, please give to your servant the 6 good qualities. Oh, give me the 6 kinds of holy association. I have sat down here in the hope of having your company.
幫助我控制6種衝動，去除我嘅6種缺陷，給予你嘅僕人以6種美好嘅品質。主人請賜予我這6種神聖嘅聯誼。我在這裏坐下，希望有你嘅陪伴。
Alone, I find I have no strength to chant the holy name of the Lord, Hari. I beg you, therefore, please be merciful, and with a particle of faith, give me the great treasure of the holy name of Krishna.
獨自一人時，我發現自己沒有力量念誦念唱 Harry 嘅聖名。請仁慈待我，祝福我有點滴嘅信心，把 Krishna 聖名嘅寶藏賜予我。
Krishna is yours. You have the power to give him to me. For such is your power. I am indeed wretched and simply run after you, crying,
Krishna
Krishna, Krishna.
Krishna 是你的，你可以將它給予我，這是你嘅力量之所在。這個可憐之人唯一能做嘅係追趕你並呼喊着 Krishna Krishna，
Or
或者
like Haridas Thakur,
好似 Haridas Thakur 咁樣。
crying what? Krishna Chaitanya, Krishna Chaitanya.
咁 Haridas Thakur 就呼喊住咧 Sri Krishna Chaitanya 呢個聖名。
Jai Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Arvibhavdati Mahotsava ki. Jai Shri Shri Haridas Thakur, Tirobhavdati Mahotsava ki. And of course, there's the noon program. Also, what time? Sitarani? Radhakun, what time? No, Artik's at 12.
And then the 12:30 is Pushpanjali.
And right, and then Prabhu will give the talk from 12:40 to 1:30, I guess. No, I have to go out. Yeah. I guess these are the people. I guess. I don't know. I guess.
No, for the yogi?
Yeah.
Oh.
They look like they're all dressed up.
Yeah, but I don't know where the girl is.